Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Haley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group. Hope you guys are having an amazing day today. I want to talk a little bit about social triggers, and what better time to talk about that during this crazy fucking mess of an election that the American people right now are dealing with. It's like, not only do we feel like we made it through, we've almost made it through 2020 with COVID-19, the fucking government putting a mask on everybody, or businesses being shut down, an election year, China, all of this shit that we've went through. And now, as the election is finished, there's all kinds of claims of fraud. There's election fraud claims. The folks that are saying that there was absolutely no fraud are the same individuals who claimed fraud whenever Donald Trump had won the election. Now, many of you guys know my political preference. If any of you guys follow me or anything like that, I don't really tend to carry that too much into the Marketing Savage movement. Not that I fucking won't or that I wouldn't, but just that I honestly, that's really not what it's about. I'd much rather talk about some of the strategies behind what a lot of the individuals that I know. There's a lot of people that I know that I'm close to that really fucking use these social triggers to make their message go much further. And not only do they make their message go further with social triggers, but they also, you could say, create an alliance. They align themselves with their audience, or the people that they actually want to work with. I recently came back from Dallas, probably was a month and a half ago or something like that, the last Apex executive meeting. And there was a gentleman in the room. I'm not going to mention his name on the podcast, but just an amazing dude, very, very smart person, and very wealthy individual. And it just kind of got like brought up in the room. It was like, some of you guys post about politics. Some people stay away from that. Because currently right now, that's a huge social trigger. And one of the things that he actually said is that, and keep in mind, the dude's very wealthy. He really only takes clients or works with people that he wants to work with. And he said that he doesn't want to work with people on the other side of the political spectrum. So he'll say shit because he literally, marketing by definition, is becoming repulsive to people that you don't want to work with, while being magnetic to the people that you do want to work with. Okay. And there's many reasons for this. Because truly you can really kind of break down somebody's, believe it or not, personality with the way that they feel politically. I mean, regardless of how we try to put lipstick on it, put lipstick on the pig in the room, it's still a pig. And we are going to not get along very well with people that have, it seems like, whether it's a Republican or a Democratic difference, it's going to be hard to get along with each other. Now, some of us have gotten past that, right? Some of us have gotten past that. But ideally, some of these social triggers in marketing are designed to create polarity, okay? Meaning that some people really get turned off, but other people, it builds more of an alliance with them, okay? So, or let's just say you're able to ally them, all right? And it's super important. I mean, because, there's certain situations where you want that level of polarity. There's certain situations where you don't, if you live in a little town that's primary Republican, you really don't want to be going out spouting things about Joe Biden or putting that sign in your front yard if you own a small business in that community. It could literally be what gets you alienated, right? And at the end of the day, is it really worth it? Is it really, really worth it? Okay. So back to the social triggers. Some of the ones this year were quite interesting. Like early on, anytime that you brought up COVID-19, huge social trigger to begin with. And that was kind of before it came over to our country. I mean, I even seen people that were pretty far on the right of things. In fact, they're Trump voters who at that time were getting very defensive and very scared when it came to anything in regards to COVID-19. There were a lot of people that I know that were moderate, conservative slash liberal that wanted the businesses to close down so we could, for a few weeks, so we could actually curb the, or slow the curve. But later they started getting angry, right? Because they didn't see what the models were projecting at the time. They didn't see hospitals being overflown with people. So next thing you know, it continued to be something that was a trigger, right? And then all of a sudden the mask come out, right? Any post that I would post on my wall about the mask would be a trigger on both sides of the political spectrum. Next, I'm not just going to, I'm probably jumping quite a few of them, but I'm not going to go over everything because I'm going to get to my final point. Next, we're dealing with right now anything about voting fraud. Okay. Anything about voting fraud right now at this current moment will trigger an eruption of people, not only from the right, but people from the left. Uh, and there was a lot of funny stuff along the way as well. So a lot of people don't really know this about. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do know this about me, but it seems like occasionally I get that person that gets really serious. I tend to one of my default mechanisms just about everything in life. I tend to laugh about things, and I can see the humor in any side, any perspective, right? So, that being said, I mean, these are things that you want to look out for, right? Not only are there social triggers in stuff like politics, but I was recently talking to a coaching client of mine, a lady, and she was telling me that she doesn't even know anything about the Ford Bronco. But when she posted something on her Facebook wall about the Ford Bronco, that triggered all kinds of people to put in their opinion, right? So there's social triggers in cars. There's social triggers, obviously, in politics. There's social triggers in about every single aspect of life that you could think of. There's social triggers when it comes to controversy and stuff like that in religion. There's a lot of places that some people can't go, but if you know your audience and you know the people that you ally, you can go, you can take it just about anywhere that, that you want, right? As long as you are allying somebody, meaning you are allying the people that you want to work with, that you want to do business with. And specifically, guys, this podcast is about marketers and business type stuff, right? So, I'm talking to mostly business owners here. But as long as you are allying the people that you represent, you're going to be in a pretty good position to step onto that side of the equation. Now, if you got some points of view and stuff like that do not ally the majority of the people that you represent or that you're working with, well, number one, I'd say you probably made a mistake to begin with, right? Because you started working with people that did not fit your core values. That's essentially, guys, that's why I do what I do, right? I want to actually work with people that are like me. That's one of the things that I set out a long time ago. And one of the reasons why I can utilize and use all of these social triggers to push my message is that I want to work with people who are a lot like me, because I want to work with people that I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to enjoy being around, spending time with. So, y'all, if you guys can do it, do it. But what I'm going to recommend is that you check your emotions at the door, because if you utilize these social triggers, especially when you get into stuff that's very emotional, like political, like the religion and stuff like that. If you start using these social triggers to move your message and begin to ally other people that are like you, you got to be ready. You got to have some pretty thick skin. You got to have some people. I mean, I could guarantee you right now, I could go to Facebook and I could guarantee you there's probably about 10 comments on various posts my last probably 5, 6 days. I guarantee you there's 10 comments on there that people are calling me different names. They're telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm stupid, that I'm reckless. You have to have really thick skin. And as a marketer, here's the way to look at it, right? And it's kind of crazy because I'm probably giving away some of my secrets. Like, I like it when people get on my post and have like an opposite point of view. Like, there's nothing inside of me that wants to delete them. There's nothing inside of me that wants to remove them from my life. It creates the polarity that I desire when I'm doing these posts. Like, I don't post shit that's controversial to make people happy, to make everybody happy. Now, I'm obviously, my audience has built to the point to where I'm allied with a lot of people that are a lot like me. That'll happen. But and this is a big but. I want the people that have an opposite opinion. Well, not to mention, not only do I want them for, well, the massive spike in algorithm when people will argue on your post, right? Some of you guys heard some of my previous talking about the Facebook algorithm and stuff like that. But to be honest with you guys, here's the way I look at things. And I want you to open your mind to look at it too, because this whole marketing savage thing is about opening your mind to truth and to understanding truth. And that doesn't mean that people that are in opposition to your beliefs are right. But what I want you to realize is that you should start taking a step back and say, well, what if they are right and I'm wrong? I mean, and I'm talking about in any situation. In any situation, whether it's political, whether it's religion, just take a step back, whether it's business, and look at this like, what if I'm wrong and they're right? What that does is that opens your mind up, and it doesn't turn you into like this closed-minded individual that just can't accept any criticism because you're so stuck in your ways. And trust me, when you can open your mind up on something that's so such a loaded, such a emotional type of topic, and you can begin asking your question like, what if I'm wrong and they're right? You're going to notice your mind is going to start opening up in other areas of life that are less difficult, or that don't require as much restraint. And I truly believe that having an open mind like that gives you a creative ability that a lot of people, they don't have. A lot of people don't have the creative ability because they're so close-minded to anybody else's perspective or opinion. And that's not what marketing is about. That's not what life should be about. Marketing is opening your mind to all possibilities and letting the data do the talking. It's science driven, and when you can open your mind up on topics that are really loaded and that people have really strong core beliefs behind these topics, and you can begin opening your heart and your mind up and say, hey man, maybe they're right and I'm wrong. It's like having a superpower. It's like having a superpower. So, and plus, it takes all that stress off. You don't want to be walking around with a ball of energy of hate and pain. Now, you want to put your shit out there. You want to create polarity. You want to attract the people that you want while you repel the people that you don't want. But at the same time, you don't want to live your life in pain. You don't want to live your life in hate. That's why if you notice, I used to get pretty crazy on the comments because I would try to feel it a little bit more. And on top of that, occasionally I would start getting a little bit of anger and stuff like that. So I'm just like all of you. I can slip up from time to time. But I got to tell you, like, I know the purpose. And now when people comment and they if they were to call me a name or something like that on one of my posts, I'm not going to fight back with them. I'm not going to delete them. I may joke around with them, but um, it's just like you can't let people drag you down to their level. And to be honest with you, most of the time, I just ignore it. And the truth of the matter is, when people say things that where they're trying to like trigger the person who's triggering them, and you ignore them, it really disempowers them. And in fact, the funny thing is they'll actually comment on more of your stuff, which will again fuel your algorithm and get your message out even further. Okay. So anyhow, guys, man, we had a nice little episode today talking about social triggers and how you can use them. Don't get yourself in trouble with this stuff, guys. That's what I recommend. I mean, don't get yourself in trouble. I had a friend of mine who got in some trouble by saying some things, and he owned a local business and he really relied on our community. And there was like a community hate group, which is, I think it's called like Occupy Dayton or something like that. Literally a community hate group got a hold of this thing that he put, something that everybody was thinking, but he happened to write it out, and they screenshot it and they tried to ruin his fucking business. But he's such a stud and has such a mammoth of a business that it survives and still thriving. But also be careful, guys. Be careful with that, okay? Because anytime you have a message that invokes these type of emotions, the wrong people will get a hold of them and they will try to fucking ruin you. If you're in a position where you don't give a fuck, then do what you want. But if you're in a position where it can hurt you, be careful with it, okay? All right, guys. Anyhow, appreciate you guys coming along on this Marketing Revolution podcast. And y'all, don't forget to head on over to the Marketing Savage Facebook group. We'll see you on the next one.